Welcome back, Enomaniacs. Get ready, because today we're diving deep into Stranger Things Season 1, Episode 3, Holly Jolly. This is the episode where the stakes go through the roof, the horror takes center stage, and the emotional gut punches just keep coming. We've got mystery, heartbreak, and one of the most shocking endings of the season, so buckle up and let's get into it. We start with Barb Holland alone, terrified and gasping for air in a place that looks like Steve's backyard pool. But horribly wrong. The water is gone, the sky is pitch black, and the air is filled with eerie floating dust particles. Barb screams for Nancy, desperately trying to escape, but something is lurking. Before she can get out, the monstrous Demogorgon grabs her and drags her back into the darkness. And just like that, Barb is gone. Meanwhile, Nancy wakes up in Steve's bed, blissfully unaware that her best friend is missing. She sneaks home wearing Steve's sweatshirt, only to be confronted by her mother, Karen Wheeler, who immediately senses something is off. Nancy plays it cool, brushing off her mom's concerns, but deep down, something doesn't feel right. Over at the Byers' house, Joyce is descending deeper into her obsession. She is convinced Will is communicating through the Christmas lights, flickering in patterns that she believes are messages. Jonathan walks in on her talking to the lights, and while he loves his mother, he's genuinely worried she's losing her grip on reality. But Joyce isn't just clinging to false hope. Something is trying to reach her. Meanwhile, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas regroup with Eleven, determined to find Will. Lucas arrives armed with his father's old Vietnam survival gear, while Dustin, in classic Dustin fashion, prioritizes snacks over weapons. The team argues about whether Eleven's abilities are real or not, but they decide to trust her. Mike gives Eleven his watch and tells her to meet them at the power lines after school, completely unaware of the horrors that are about to unfold. At school, Nancy starts to notice Barb is missing, and the unease starts creeping in. She asks around, but nobody has seen her. Meanwhile, in the darkroom, Jonathan is developing the photos from the night before. Photos that include Barb sitting alone by the pool, moments before she vanished. Just then, Steve and his gang find the pictures, rip them up, and smash Jonathan's camera, humiliating him in front of the school. But Nancy manages to grab a torn piece of a photo, a picture of Barb. Back at Mike's house, Eleven is left alone, and this is where things get truly eerie. She flips through TV channels and sees a Coca-Cola commercial, which triggers a flashback to Hawkins Lab. We see Dr. Brenner watching as Eleven crushes a Coke can with her mind, a cruel experiment to push her abilities. Back in the present, Eleven is lost in these painful memories, slowly realizing she's more than just a scared girl. She's a weapon. As the day unfolds, Nancy goes back to Steve's backyard searching for clues. She finds Barb's car still parked there, a chilling sign that something is terribly wrong. Then, in the woods, she sees something, a shadowy figure moving unnaturally. She runs home in terror. Meanwhile, Hopper's investigation is heating up. He notices the security footage at Hawkins Lab doesn't match reality. There was a storm the night Will disappeared, but the footage shows clear skies. Someone is lying. Hopper's instincts tell him the lab is at the center of this mystery, but he has no idea how deep the rabbit hole goes. Back at the Byers' house, the Christmas lights start blinking in a pattern, and Joyce watches in horror as the lights spell out a single word, R-I-G-H-T-H-E-R-E. Joyce, realizing she can communicate with Will, paints the alphabet on her wall and strings lights under each letter. She asks, "Where are you?" And Will responds, "Run!" Suddenly, the wall starts bulging and pulsating like it's alive, and then the Demogorgon bursts through. Joyce screams in terror and runs out of the house, but she doesn't give up. She knows her son is out there. Just as this is happening, Mike, Lucas, and Dustin follow a group of police cars speeding through town. They reach the quarry and watch in horror as Will's lifeless body is pulled from the water. Mike is devastated. He trusted Eleven, and she said Will was alive. Feeling betrayed, he yells at her and bikes home in tears. At the same time, Joyce runs into Jonathan, sobbing as she clings to him, refusing to believe what she's seeing. The episode ends with a gut-wrenching silence, and we are left wondering, is Will really dead, or is something else happening here? Now let's talk character breakdown and review. Joyce Byers, played by Winona Ryder, delivers an incredible performance in this episode. Joyce is desperate but determined, refusing to accept the reality being forced on her. Her belief in Will, despite everyone calling her crazy, makes her the true heart of the show. Watching her interact with the lights and push past her own fear is one of the most powerful moments in the series so far. Mike Wheeler, portrayed by Finn Wolfhard, sees his faith in Eleven shatter in this episode. His rage when he sees Will's body being pulled from the water is raw and real. He trusted Eleven, and now he feels like he's lost everything. Eleven, played by Millie Bobby Brown, gives us some of the most chilling insights into her past in this episode. Seeing her crush the Coke can in the flashback reminds us that she's been through horrific experiments since childhood. But the worst part? Brenner praises her for it. Eleven's struggle between being a child and a dangerous experiment is heartbreaking and terrifying. Nancy Wheeler, played by Natalia Dyer, starts stepping into her own mystery in this episode. She realizes Steve's friends don't care about Barb, and she's the only one asking questions. The moment she sees the shadowy figure in the woods is the moment she realizes her world isn't as safe as she thought. Chief Jim Hopper, portrayed by David Harbour, shows brilliant detective work in this episode. He knows something is off about Hawkins Lab, and his realization that the security footage is fake shows just how sharp he is. He's a man who trusts his gut, and his gut is telling him something is very, very wrong. This episode is pure Stranger Things perfection. I want to give it 9 out of 10. The horror, the emotion, the mystery, everything hits just right. From Joyce's frantic desperation to the shocking death of Will, this episode leaves us shaken and desperate for answers. What do you think, Enomaniacs? Did this episode break your heart? What do you think happened to Will? Drop your theories in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Stranger Things recaps and reviews. Until next time, stay strange!